On this travel channel, you'll very rarely find me advocating traveling to a country where the native language is English. You know, personally as a traveler, I like experiencing countries that are more different than America. You know, I want a newer experience, a different flavor in my countries. But I think for this video, this country in particular holds a very special place in my heart because it is the first country that I traveled to. And I had a very good experience. For example, I got this fit from them. Yo. Does this not go hard? Does that not go hard? I'm probably not going to have that on for the duration of this video because it is summer and very hot. But I did make a lot of memories. As you can see, traveling to this country, I got an Edinburgh Fringe Festival hoodie. And, you know, Scotland was one of the first countries that I traveled to, and it made me realize that there was more out there in this world. Despite me advocating for non-English speaking countries, this country was so different, so unique to me that it really sparked that place in my heart that made me want to actually seek more out in this world. So that is what I'm hoping to do with today's video. And it's going to be the 10 best things to do in Edinburgh. I was looking for expat videos, but, you know, those weren't so interesting. Maybe in the future, we can do a more expat-y experience video, but I have not found one that was like good enough for you guys. But this one's pretty interesting, and it basically shows you all that Edinburgh has to offer you. So we're going to discuss, is Edinburgh worth traveling to? Is it worth, you know, expatting to? You'll probably want more of like an in-depth video on the pricing and, like, you know, the requirements to that kind of, you know, travel. But we're going to at least cover visiting. So yeah, let's get right into this video. His video will be linked in the description, as per usual. And yeah, let's get right into this.
It just makes sense to kick the video off here at Edinburgh's famous Royal Mile. As the name suggests, it's a street that stretches around a mile from Edinburgh Castle and all the way down to Holyrood Palace. The Royal Mile is lovely and there's lots of things to do and see here, and I'm sure you're going to be spending quite a lot of time here. But maybe don't do all your Scottish souvenirs shopping right here, and maybe don't buy your cashmere and your scarves here. Also,
yeah, cashmere is very big in Scotland because, you know, Scotland has a lot of sheep. So of course they're going to have a lot of wool, and they can make a lot of cashmere with it. But yeah, you might be familiar with this area based on, you know, it's very inspired by, well, the movies were inspired by Edinburgh. We're talking about the Harry Potter movies. And I have not watched any of the Harry Potter movies. I watched one where there were Dementors. I'm not very big on Harry Potter. I know, you know, it's a cult classic, but you know, I never got into the Harry Potter series. And yeah, so I visited Edinburgh without actually watching, you know, the main reason why people usually visit Edinburgh. Maybe one of these days I'll get into that series, but for now, let's get back into this.
don't forget to walk down all the small alleys, because that's actually where you'll find the cool pubs and restaurants that the locals also go to, because here in the Royal Mile you won't even hear any English or Scottish being spoken.
Wait, let me rewind back a little bit. Right
Also.
here, you might be familiar with this area. As you know, I was very excited. If you watch the Marvel movies, you know, Edinburgh is a very good filming location for movies. But in the beginning of the Infinity War, this is where, you know, Red Vision was fighting one of Thanos's, you know, henchmen. Just a little tidbit for people who watch Marvel movies.
Scottish being spoken. I used to live here in Edinburgh, and I actually used to work as a tour guide in my own travel agency, so I know this city pretty well. So if you got any questions, then just drop a comment below and I'll do my best to help. Right here on the Royal Mile you'll find the St. Giles Cathedral, and it's free to enter, and honestly it's one of the most stunning cathedrals I've ever been in, so I highly recommend going in there.
Yeah, no, amazing views all over Edinburgh just like this. This is what I love about the appearance of Edinburgh, because they really tried their best to actually preserve a lot of the buildings. That's why you don't see a lot of skyscrapers or tall buildings in Edinburgh, is because they really preserve this area very well, and you know, it's crafted very well too.
Victoria Street is probably the most beautiful street in all of Edinburgh, and that says a lot in this fantastic city. It's also rumored that this is the street that inspired J.K. Rowling when she thought about Diagon Alley in the Harry Potter universe, and she
I'm not so well informed in this part, but you know, Diagon Alley, I heard actually, because this is what I was talking about in my group travel video. This is where I actually traveled with a group, study abroad in college, and you know, all the girls were, you know, fanning over this area in particular, Diagon Alley. So if you ever visit Edinburgh, that's definitely an area that you gotta check out.
He was actually writing the first book in a cafe right up here that's sadly burned down now, so I think they're restoring that, but definitely come here to Victoria Street, check that out, and the shops here are actually pretty good. There are some independent shops, and it's not just touristy stuff. The Dean Village here in Edinburgh is one of those places that looks perfect on Instagram with all the right editing, but the good news is that it's just as good in real life.
Yeah, I definitely have taken pictures in this area, and it is very Instagram worthy. I remember standing on this bridge in this river. If I could find some old pictures, I'll put them up, but yeah, very, very scenic areas in Edinburgh.
Do keep in mind that actual people are actually living here, so maybe don't walk into their gardens as I've just seen some tourists do. Now, from the Dean Village, I highly recommend that you walk this way along this river called the Water of Leith. That's actually one of my favorite walks in all of Edinburgh, and that says a lot in this beautiful city. It's such a peaceful walk, and you're actually gonna end up in the next area that I want to show you. Our walk here ends in an area called Stockbridge, and this is without a doubt my favorite part of town. I think there's a sense of being in a smaller Scottish village and not like 10 minutes from the city centre of the capital of Scotland, and I really like that.
Yeah, Scotland is definitely cafe heavy. There's a very cute little, you know, little shops that you have to visit or can visit here or there, and it's very quaint. This is like one of the main reasons why I even, you know, when I first visited, I considered visiting there in the first place, because, you know, you don't get this kind of quiet in New York, you know. Very rare occasions where you find this kind of quiet, you know. But yeah.
Come down to Stockbridge and maybe stop here at the Scran and Scally and get some really good food. And if you want to meet the locals, then head over to a pub called the Bailey Bar. There's just a different vibe here in Stockbridge compared to New Town and Old Town. And if you got a couple of days here in Edinburgh, then head down here. It's a nice, really nice area.
Yeah, this is there's like a very cool bar that I would recommend checking out. I forget the actual name of it, but it's like inspired by a barrel. There's a barrel bar, and yo, their Jägermeisters go insane. And they have a karaoke night on, I think, Thursdays, which was amazing. It was either Thursdays or Fridays. Hopefully they're still up. It's been a while since I've, you know, been to Edinburgh. But, man, memories were made. Memories were made.
One of the best ways to experience Edinburgh is to get up high and take it all in. And my favorite place to do so is Calton Hill here in Newtown, because it's one of the easier walks and it takes a couple of minutes. It might be a bit steep, but
yeah, I was on top of this mountain here. I climbed all the way up that mountain, and it is amazing at the top. You know they say it's lonely at the top. It's lonely up there, but I hope I can find some pictures that I can like show you guys, because it was an amazing view up there. It is quite a walk too. So if you like walking, that's definitely a walk that you got to do.
It's definitely worth it when you get up there. The sun is shining and it's raining. Welcome to Scotland. I couldn't really do a video about the best things to do in Edinburgh without including the castle. I'm not.
Yeah, I went to the Edinburgh Castle. It's you just walk around and see like old sites. I don't know if I consider that as interesting as it was when I was visiting. I guess it is worth a visit, but it's just like a walk around the castle. It is a cool looking castle, but there isn't really too much to do there. But yeah, that's one of the sites you could see.
I'm not gonna head in there today, but I highly recommend it because it is expensive, but it's worth the money, that's for sure. And remember to book your tickets well in advance, as they do sell out, especially on a Saturday like today. And here's a little bonus for you guys, because we are in Scotland and I really do think you should try Iron Brew. Here in Scotland, Iron Brew is the most popular soda, and it's even more popular than Coca-Cola. And while we're at it, I really do think you should try haggis. And if you don't know what haggis is, don't worry about it, don't look it up on Google or anything, just order it in a pub. Or go to this hotel restaurant where they've got haggis ravioli, and that actually tasted really, really good.
Yeah, don't look up what haggis is, please. Do not, I beg of you, do not look up haggis. Do not try haggis. Just avoid haggis at all costs if you can. That's all I gotta say about that.
It's not supposed to be amazing, but it is. Greyfriars Bobby is the...
Yeah, that's the dog. Everyone pets that dog's nose. That's why, his nose is so shined up. But yeah, I took a picture of this dog. I like this dog.
Most popular little dog in all of Scotland. Little Bobby here is known for guarding the grave of his owner until he died himself after 14 years of guarding the owner's grave. So right across from the statue you will find Greyfriars Kirkyard, and this is another interesting place to go if you are a Harry Potter fan, because on some of the graves here you will find some names that you know from the Harry Potter books, and that is because the cafe where J.K. Rowling was writing the first Harry Potter book is just around the corner. And another thing that is just around the corner is the next thing on our list. It's always great to have something to do in Scotland and in Edinburgh when it rains, and the National Museum is free to enter, and it's actually really cool. And another thing that's really cool is to subscribe to this channel and like the video if you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot. See you.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for that video. Yeah, I definitely I may be biased here. When I'm talking about, Scotland. It being my first country that I visited and all. But it's it's an English-speaking country, so you never see me advocating for that a lot of the time, because I love it when the countries that I visit are more different and less similar to America as possible. But Edinburgh, there is something magical about Edinburgh particularly, and the last time I was visiting Edinburgh, which was the first time. So when I was last there, I wanted to do a lot more. There was a lot that I couldn't do, and I stood there for about 3 weeks. So this is basically where I got my 3-week rule of like visiting anywhere. But to get the full effect of living in Scotland, I got to visit the Macbeth's castle. That was like near Edinburgh. I think that was actually. A lot of things are like blurring for me because it was like so far back. But if you like Shakespeare, if you like Harry Potter, I definitely Scotland, Edinburgh would be an amazing travel for someone like you. And there's a place called the Isle of Skye, which I wanted to go to because apparently my name came from that area, Isle of Skye in Scotland. So that's definitely another thing that I would check out personally because, the name and all. But for travelers, definitely Scotland would be an amazing place to go. Now, as far as, expatting and like completely living there entirely, I'm not so sure about because, it is a Western country, so the prices of Scotland would have to be, around, the Western standard. So that's definitely something that you got to consider. And they use pounds over there. So we already went over what London's pricing is. It's probably one and the same in that that currency. But yeah, that is definitely something we could look more into. I didn't want to particularly dive into the expat part of the conversation on Scotland and Edinburgh because there weren't really glamorous videos that I wanted to react to that gave the effect that I wanted Scotland to give you guys, because these are the reasons in the video that one would want to go to Scotland. The scenic areas, the glamorous views from the mountaintop. These are things that you would go to Scotland for. But other than that, if you wanted like a calm non-restless area to live in, this is definitely one of those areas that you might want to check out. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about traveling to Scotland, what more things that I did there, because there's a lot of things to do. Summertime, particularly the Edinburgh Festival, is something that I would definitely recommend checking out, because there's like a 3 weeks of performances. I think it's 3 weeks, or maybe it's just 2 weeks. But yeah, there's a lot of activities for you when that festival is happening. So as always, the summertime is usually when people go, as they always say for all the other countries. Best to visit during the summer. I guess there's nothing to do in the winter, but. Let me know what your questions are about Scotland in Edinburgh. Does Scotland even interest you guys as an idea for a travel destination or visiting? I made a lot of memories there, but of course that was when I was group traveling. So it may be good to travel in a group for that kind of location. Solo traveling, I always am going to be an advocate for solo travel. So you might get a great experience solo traveling there as well. But yeah, that's it for today's video. And hopefully I have pictures like being posted throughout this video, because it was really a good time traveling there. And yeah, if you guys like this kind of video, please leave a like. It would be muchly appreciated. And thank you guys for watching all the way through to the end of this video, because it really does my channel well when you guys watch all the way through the end. And yeah, I appreciate that very much. And comment if you like this. Did I already say comment? Comment if you have any questions. And with that, I think that's it for this video. So stay tuned for the next video, guys. Peace.